My name is Lisa Shea, and this video is part of my series on horror authors, horror short stories, horror novels, horror books, and all things horror. So in this video, we're going to be talking about The Abyss Within, which is a collection of 13 horror short stories. And in particular, we're going to talk about Masquerade, which is story number 10, written by Tabitha Potts. And I had previously talked about another story by Tabitha Potts, which was Crow Girl. And I like both of these stories immensely. Tabitha is got a master's degree in creative lighting, and it really shows through in her stories. They are works of literature in addition to being horror stories. So the way that the language is crafted, the way that the environments are crafted, everything just flows together very smoothly. And also both of them are written about topics that I personally care about greatly, which is about women who are being mistreated and try to find a way to rise above it. I do that a lot in my own stories. And also, she doesn't write these with much, if any, gore at all. It's about a psychological story, and even the horror, the thing that happens, isn't a key part of the story in a sense that it is a dark form of literature that has some sort of nasty thing happen in it, but it is a part of the story that isn't the climax of the story necessarily, but a stage for the character's growth and development, which, you could also say that is true for all horror stories, or something that many horror stories aim for. So it's I know it's all a tricky gray line in there somewhere, but I get more of a sense with these that they are um, wonderful literature works that happen to have a dark part of them instead of something that is written solely for getting a horror moment across. So maybe we'll say it that way. There's always different ways of writing horror, writing dark fantasy, writing literature, and so on. So I enjoy this story immensely, Masquerade. I don't want to give away any of the key details about the story, because part of the enjoyment of reading one of these stories is to see how they unfold. But it's fair to say that there is a character who we take to be a young woman who starts out doing kickboxing and punching in a gym, and you get a sense very quickly that she is an abused woman, and she is doing this to build up her own strength to be able to try to take care of herself. And again, this is something I care immensely for, and it's something that I cover in a lot of my own work. So I very much enjoyed seeing this story fold out, and to hear about all of the details that she works into here about how the character likes to watch nature shows that talk about how predators track down prey and how prey tries to work to protect itself. Everything is just interwoven into each other. And the way this character's mother was abused by her father, and how the character herself grew up in an environment of dangerous things happening, and how she learned to try to take care of herself. So all of these things are things that I enjoy reading about immensely. Maybe I don't mean enjoy in the sense that it's happy for me to read, but I'm glad that these kinds of things are being written about, that women who are in these situations can read them and not feel alone, and that stories like this can give them a sense that they can take action of some sort and be able to move forward and get out of the situation that they're in. So I love the writing style. I love the detail that's put into this main character, and you really get a sense of where she came from and why she is the way that she is, and what is building up and within her. And um, that it's not an easy situation, as anyone who's worked with battered women know. It's a very rough situation, and you get sucked into it, and then how do you get back out again? So I liked everything about this story. I liked the writing, I liked the scenario, I liked the character, I liked the way that the plot unfolded. So well recommended. I really enjoyed Masquerade. And I enjoyed Crow Girl too, so I think in general I like the way Tabitha Potts writes immensely, and I recommend looking out for her website. I believe was tabithapotts.com. Let's take a look. I've got it. Yep, tabithapotts.com. And I don't think that she has any of her own books out yet, but she has a number of her stories in other people's compilations. So take a look for the other things on anthologies, and take a look for the other anthologies that she can be found in. This is one in terms of it's part of what we've been talking about with other reviewers is the whole UK versus US feel. I get a very strong UK feel out of this story, and it's more subtle in this one because of the places it takes place in seem to be big city kinds of places as compared with Crow Girl, which was her other story set in what seemed to me a quiet rural English village, which maybe even was set a couple hundred years ago. This one seems very much a modern, current village, city, maybe even London, and that people live in what we would call in the U.S. high rises, what they're calling in here towers. So these tall towers of apartment buildings. And she's talking about, can other people look into her apartment building with their binoculars or telescopes or other things. So it's a very isolated kind of feel that she's high up in this tower. She's trapped with this person, and what is she going to do about it? So she wears trainers at the gym. She's living in a tower. There's all these other little hints that give me a strong UK feel, but it isn't grounded so heavily in a UK sense that you think that it's a uniquely UK experience. You get more just this general sense that she's in a city with all these other people, but no one sees what's happening to her. And cities are like that everywhere. You know, it could be New York City or it could be San Francisco or somewhere else. But if you get to be somewhere where you're up in a high rise and you're this little cube, then once you go in there, then you're sort of disconnected from everyone else in there. And what do you do? So I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed that sense that it could be anyone that this happens to. And hopefully we can help people get out of it when they get into that situation. So the author is Tabitha Potts. Be sure to look for her both in The Abyss Within and in other works. The story in this case is Masquerade, story number 10 in The Abyss Within, and the collection is called The Abyss Within, 13 Chilling Tales to Keep You Up at Night, and it's published by Smash Bear Publishing in ebook form. So this is another one where I am tempted to do this video as a please read it, because I really think you should read it. And then I want to do another video afterwards that has spoilers in it where I can really talk about the pieces of it that really struck me powerfully. There's a lot of little details in here which were very nicely done, which I can't talk about beforehand, but after you read it, it would be really cool to talk about them and explain why I thought they were so well written. So let me know if you want me to do the spoiler types of videos, if you find those interesting. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to read out there in the horror genre to add to this collection. So thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon.